Joining us now, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, a retired CIA-trained intelligence operative and senior fellow at the London Center for Policy Research, and Congressman Peter King, who's a member of the Homeland Security Committee and Intelligence Committee. Good to see you both. Congressman, let me start with you on your reaction today to what we've seen and what, if anything, we're going to do about it.
Well, obviously it was horrible. The one big question I have, Megan, is the fact that the FBI did carry out an investigation 2 or 3 years ago, and they closed the investigation. This is similar to what happened in Boston when they investigated the older Tsarnaev brother and closed out that investigation. And my concern is here, did the FBI notify the local police that this investigation had been carried out? Because quite frankly, the FBI does not have the personnel to carry out the type of intensive ongoing investigation the local police can. In Boston, the Boston police were never told about the Tsarnaev investigation. If they had been, I think that Boston Marathon bombing could have been prevented. So I'm wondering here, did the FBI give the local police all the information about him?
Yeah, that's a good question, Colonel, because the intelligence actually seemed to have worked to some extent here in that he got on the radar twice. But what happened after that, we need to look into.
Well, Peter, Congressman is completely correct. Let's remember we have 9 casualties from this. 9 officers fell over this because of something not working. The FBI's local program to basically exchange information has been defunded. So that's one of the flaws in the program. And yes, Megan, the FBI went and checked, but let's be real here. We didn't understand or recognize what happened in Europe sufficiently to understand you need to look at patterns. That pattern was apparent here. This individual met certain requirements for being interviewed. The FBI does not mess around. With that said, I believe because it's political correctness, they basically were told, back off, nothing to see here. So what we're seeing here is a dumbing down of the FBI process by policy. This was a policy failure. All the indicators of something being there, he was linked to other people who became bombers. And I believe, based on my intelligence contacts, Megan, ISIS is here. They somehow were able to work to get him radicalized, and this is what they're looking for. They're looking for individuals like him who will volunteer to do the things that happen in Europe. So we have to be more vigilant. The clues are there. We're just missing them.
ISIS thriving overseas, Congressman, everyone says is an inspiration to these domestic terrorists. I mean, these terrorists who happen to be here domestically. It's an inspiration. They thrive on it, in the words of David French.
Megan, that's entirely right. And the president, by having a half-hearted attempt overseas, by always saying what we're not going to do, we're not going to use ground troops, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, saying when troops are going to be pulled out, that just gives a sign of weakness. It makes ISIS, it emboldens ISIS. It causes our allies to lose faith, and it encourages people over here and around the world, ISIS supporters, that think these guys are the wave of the future, that they are more powerful than they really are, and it's going to become reality.
Colonel, your thoughts?
Well, Peter's correct. I mean, look, I talked to senior members of the Pentagon. As much as they're doing as best they can with the plan they have, the policy is not global. We do not. President Clinton was more focused on defeating al-Qaeda before 9/11 than President Obama is on defeating ISIS. That's how bad things are. And again, this is coming from the very top. We don't have a global plan. We don't have a National Security Council working to defeat ISIS. We're doing things here and there. We're poking the bear here. Something else happens. So we've got to get serious about this, and we have to recognize that ISIS is, they've pledged they would do attacks during Ramadan. They're doing attacks during Ramadan. We have to recognize and accept their threats for what they are, and clearly they have the mechanism, they have the intent, and now they're having the volunteers come forward. They're very much inspired by this. Yeah. Their Twitter handles are going crazy. We have to take it for what it is.
Ramadan ends on July 5th. Of course, we have to worry about the July 4th holiday here as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here tonight.